going on, guys? Paul's back for the next part of this tutorial, and just a funny note here, I actually hit play on this thing and started simulating, and then I went and left my room and did a whole bunch of things for about a half an hour, and came back and forgot that I had started the simulation, and out of the corner of my eye this guy went trucking across the screen, and it actually gave me a shock because I thought there was a friggin' spider on the screen, or like a bug on the screen, because I totally forgot that I was simulating, so it just caught the corner of my eye and it scared the shit out of me, which kind of funny. But this guy's actually literally been running around for about 40 minutes now, and he hasn't broken or nothing, and it's kind of funny that he can continue to do that. Now I did, if you guys saw the last video, I did update his run cycle, and I think he looks much cooler now. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to get him to behave based on some actual stimuli now, as opposed to just wandering around. So we're actually going to make it so that he chases you and can basically catch you, and we'll probably just print, hey, caught you, you know, for now. We don't have a kill animation or anything like that yet. I haven't actually done an attack animation. So with him here, and by the way, just in case you're curious, there's nothing really stopping me from, you know, putting a few of these guys around, and they'll all pick different points, you know, tool around the screen. So we can place as many as we want for the most part, but I don't want the game to be too difficult or anything like that right now. So let's go and get into his blueprints, and let's kind of open everything up. So he is wandering, and he also, if we remember, has his pawn sensing. Now I know there is AI perception, but I am going to avoid it just for this case, because this is actually just a super simple case, and I was thinking about it, I'm not going to give him like EQS or anything like that. EQS would be more for characters that you want to be able to like make more decisions about the terrain. Like a monster that just chases you, you really don't need it, because it should just chase you, and it can just go to different, you know, it can just go to where the last point it saw you or wherever it heard a noise from. EQS would be like, hey, he wants to run and get cover, or an enemy that wants to be able to, say, like retreat from you and hide from you and things like that, or spy on you and follow you around, but, you know, try to stay out of view and stuff like that. So we're probably not going to use EQS on this guy. I'm going to keep him a little bit more simple. So what we want to do is basically test print string. I just saw, actually, let's build a string out of name here, and what we'll do is we will get display name. Okay, so the prefix will be I just saw space, we want the space in there, and I just saw whoever that is, and we'll convert it, and we'll print that. And we'll see how quickly it gets spammed, and we should be able to tell how that's going to feel. So I'm going to take my player start and put it there, and make sure that I am facing him. So we just get that little blue arrow in there facing the right way, and we're going to stop simulating and we'll play in the viewport. Let me go to world settings, third person game mode. I actually want first person game mode. There we go. So we'll see. So I just saw a first person character, and you can see it kind of spams. If I go into his view, I just see he's basically sensing me over and over again. Boom, 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 boom. And there is, I actually forgot to mention this, there is a sensing interval, which is right here. So how quickly does this happen? Like how fast on tick? And this is actually kind of like a difficulty meter in a way. Not only does slowing this down save on cycles, but it also actually makes it a little bit easier to say, hey, I want to be able to run in front of this guy, and like if he's facing down a hallway and I run from a door to a door, you know, I cut across the hallway, he won't see me necessarily instantaneously unless I happen to run across right at his interval. So I'm going to keep a 0.5 here, and what we're going to do is, since this game that I'm putting him in does actually happen to be single player, I am actually going to take advantage of that, because single player games are much easier to make than anything even remotely multiplayer. You can do things like get player character, get controller 0 and things like that, which you never really want to hard code in any kind of environment that may or may not end up having more than one player. So what we'll do is so we spot the pawn, and let's go to his sequence here, and let's add a new object key. We'll call this enemy. Okay, we'll save that, and we'll come here, and what we're gonna do is, this will be for when he hears something. This will be for when he sees an enemy. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a decorator for blackboard. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll click on here and we'll check if enemy is set. Now if enemy is set, we're going to create a new task. Okay, and that task is going to be semi like wander. So what we'll do is we'll just duplicate wander. Okay, just Control W on it, and we'll call this BTT chase enemy. Okay, and we pop that up, and now we can basically kind of use the same system here, but instead of wander destination, we're going to call this enemy key. Okay, and enemy key is no longer going to be a vector. It's actually, let's just do this. So what we want to do, remember it is public here so that the blackboard can see it, or the behavior tree can see it. So what we'll do is we're going to say get value as actor. Let's just take a look here really quick at the blackboard, and let's actually change that. I don't think we can make this actor. Key type. Oh, well, we can. It can be actor. Well, wait, hang on. No, actor's not here. Can't be one of them. So we'll make it object, and we'll, instead of, well, let me see if that works. Let's get display name like so. Print. Now that's on execute AI. What we actually want to do is receive tick AI. Okay. I do want to finish execute, but since that's the only thing that we're doing, I think we're going to fail. The reason to fail is so that when it finishes, come over here to the behavior tree, so that when it does finish whatever it's doing, it pops up to here and goes to the next one. If we don't fail, it'll stay in here, and it'll just keep spamming it over and over and over and over again. Okay, so the only way to get out of these things is, there's two ways. You can either fail one of these, or you can have the blackboard fail. And in this case, we're going to end up doing it so that the blackboard fails, because once the blackboard goes false, it will pop out of here. But what we want to do is we're going to run a service while we're in this mode, and the service is going to check whether or not we can still see the enemy, and it's going to be a simple line trace check between the two actors, the character and the and his target. So we just want to print the blackboard value right now. So let's go ahead, and if you remember, we're BTT chase enemy. So let's add a task here, chase enemy, and we'll call that enemy, and we need to set wander destination. Let's compile that. Let's see if that updated. Yeah, it did. Okay, so set that as enemy, and we'll save. And so now if he gets an enemy, he'll know, but we haven't told him that the enemy's there yet. We know that we can print it, but what we want to do now is get the blackboard. Okay, we need to get our AI control. Let's see here. Okay, let's get a handle on our own controller really quick. Event begin play, get controller, cast to parasite AI controller, and then let's store that as a variable, and we'll call this parasite controller. Alright, so compile that really quick, and now we can get the blackboard, because when you get the blackboard it is off of the controller. And then what we can do is we can set value as object, and that will be the object, and then the key name will just, actually I wonder, can I, no, I'll just go here and say make literal name, and that'll just let me type that in, and we'll call that enemy. So the character can get access to the blackboard, and it can set and retrieve values to and from the blackboard, so that the behavior tree can read them. And it's pretty super handy, and in fact very necessary that it does allow this, especially since pawn sensing is pretty much, I think, restricted into here. I'm not entirely sure about that, but so we got enemy, we set the value when we do sense the pawn, and what we can do is we can clear it later should we lose the pawn, but we're not there yet. Let's go to chase enemy, and what we'll do is valid, and this is this is actually a very important step, because if it's not valid, we'll actually keep a success on this one, but if that is not valid, we shouldn't be chasing the enemy, so we need to fail out of this entire branch, out of this entire sequence, if at any point that becomes not valid. We actually, I don't believe we really need this here, but we'll keep it up there just in case there is something that we want to store in the beginning. For instance, we may want to get a handle on our controller really quick, or our controlled pawn or something, but they are here. But if we need to cast it to anything, it's best to do that on the begin play, which is here, receive execute. So let's give this a test. So he ran the other way. Is he not? Okay, I think what happened is that he saw me, and now we're just spamming in chase enemy here. See, it was just printing that. So he did see me. So let's we'll come out of here, and we'll once again we'll do AI move to actor. The controller is this. The goal is this. Actually, I don't want to do simple move to. Let's do AI move. AI move to. This is better. So the pawn will be this. The target actor will be this. And again, we only do it if he's valid, because at any moment if we die, okay, if say the player dies, we want him to not go into like an infinite spaz loop and start crashing code. So we'll say another acceptance radius of 50. And now once he sees me, he should, and actually what we're going to do is if at any moment this is invalid or this fails, we're going to stop Well, hang on. There was a way to tell them to stop movement immediately. Remove widgets. We may have to come off of the controller to do that. Let's see. Stop movement. Alright. So what we'll do is we'll hold control to shift that there, and then we'll bypass that. So he stops moving too. He doesn't want to keep moving to any points. Alright? There's a little bit of a safety net there. Can help with crashes. Okay. I don't know if he saw me. Okay. Something didn't work. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. What are we doing wrong? Enemy key. Not sure. Spotted pawn. Get parasite controller. Get blackboard. The parasite controller. Run behavior tree. When the blackboard is part of the behavior tree, so getting the blackboard should work. And when we did this and we were printing the name, it did work. AI move to get blackboard value as actor, which happens on. Let's just kill any chance of failure right now. And let's kind of want to put that print back. What? So we're going to say chasing space and we'll do that on is valid. We'll see if we get anything. And then we'll try it before is valid if that doesn't do anything. Because maybe that's not valid or something. I don't know. It should be valid though. Okay. Let's go to the character and on pawn sensing parasite controller cast to AI. This may have failed. Failed to find controller. Let's compile that. See if that failed. No, I didn't get any errors. Okay, so that didn't fail. We're good there. Let's immediately get value as object, and we'll hook that there, and let's get display name here. Let's build a string out of name, and we'll say set enemy as that. And then we'll print that. Set enemy as first person character 8. Okay. Let's see. Enemy is not valid. I'll do a bunch of exclamation marks to make that stand out, and we'll see where we're going wrong here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's working now. Alright. So he's on my shit. He's all over my stack. Alright, I don't know why it started working. because I didn't do anything to fix it. I really didn't do anything to fix it. See, now he doesn't work without the prints. Oh, yeah, I guess he just won't see me right in the beginning if I'm there. Because he's on me now. That's kind of creepy. Okay, he is as fast as me, if not faster. So what I'm going to do is, what we want to have happen is we kind of want to control his speed a little bit. So if we go to character movement, you can see that his max walk speed here is 600, and if we look at our first person character and we check his character movement, by the way, I don't suggest that you ever use red as your comment color. It just hits the eyeballs as error. Our movement speed is 600, so we move exactly the same speed that he does, so we need to slow him down just a little bit. So we're going to say 500. Okay, we'll just slow him down a hair. And if we come back to his, where did I put his animation blueprint? I thought, here, we can find his animation blueprint quite quickly just by going here, like so. In mesh, yeah, it's not really in a good spot. What we want to do here is just change this blend mode to be on a range of 500, which I totally forgot to even set to 600, so we'll save that. Okay. I think I'm just missing that interval. No? But now he saw me. But you can see that now I can actually, I think I can escape him now. Not by a lot, but I am losing him slightly. Oh shit. He's like, I ain't that stupid. Alright, let's think. So, I'm gonna just temporarily slow him down actually quite a bit more, so that I can lose him easier. I know his animation is going to be playing too fast, but this is a temporary check. It does take him quite a while to notice me. I really don't like that. I mean, he should have already noticed me. The pawn sensing interval. Why does it take him so long to friggin' notice me? There's something wrong. There's definitely something wrong. So I'm going to say sensed something. I know I got a lot of prints going on here. I really don't like to use these debug things. It just interrupts the code. I'd rather just wait for my prints to show up. Sensed something, sensed something, sensed something. And he sensed me, but he didn't set it. I know why. Well, no, hang on. Hang on. I think it's in the behavior tree that I'm screwing this up. Yeah, observer aborts none. I'm an idiot. It never aborted. Now he should pretty much, he's on my shit right away. He sees me right away. here he comes a truckin'. So hopefully you guys know what went wrong there. If this is set to none, what happens is he's gonna stay in here for forever, unless this were to fail at any point. So it's never going to come out of this, so we need to, and when this does happen and you do abort, it's an instantaneous abort. Now if you ever actually wanted to have, there is actually receive abort, so you can actually be like, okay, well if this is told to abort, let me go ahead and clear out some variables. You can run logic, but you need to do it here, because what happens is when it does abort, all of this, where even if it could be right here and it's just about to execute this, or it's just figured this out and it's just about to execute this, abort will just kill it right out. So if you want anything to get cleaned up on abort, do it here. Okay, I don't really need to because I'm not doing anything special or anything like that. So he now will see us instantaneously and be able to go for us, and that is cool. So what we need to do now is we need to make it so that he can lose us, and what we'll do is we'll do that in a service. These things, when you do on tick, it's a rapid fire tick. Okay, this is going to tick pretty much as fast as possible. This only runs in the very beginning, and abort runs if the thing gets aborted. So let's go ahead and bypass some of this stuff now. I'm not going to delete it just in case I ever need to check this stuff again. And let's actually go back here to once again giving our fail out safety check here in case we die, because without this, if we die, he's still going to keep chasing us, and then he's not going to know what to do. This will become invalid and everything will break, and we'll actually get errors in the code. It won't be an error until we die and actually get destroyed. So what we're going to do is we need to make a service. So we need to go here and create new service, and this is going to be BT service blueprint base. Okay, and it opens it up automatically, but we do want to go ahead and rename that. So we hit F2 and we'll call that BTS check line, I kind of want to say check LOS for line of sight, check enemy, and let's say can see enemy. Okay, and that changes the name up here. So what we'll do is we'll say event receive, do we want to do, I can't remember if it's AI or not. I can't remember if, I think the way that services work is that they fire and then they reactivate and they reactivate and they reactivate over and over and over again. But I'm not entirely sure, and that's why I'm doing this here really quick, just so I can kind of remind myself. So what we do is we add service can see enemy, and you notice how it gets put here, and you can actually tell the interval here. Okay, and we don't want any deviation on there, and let's just play that. Printed. We just got printed once. And never got it again. So, that isn't correct. Hang on, am I doing this wrong? Can see enemy. This should be running. I'm not sure why that's not. And I'm also not sure why he doesn't chase me anymore. Because I'm not telling this to actually clear any variables or do anything. It should just be printing. It's just a service that runs on top. So maybe I need to actually watch the code. So it said printed once, but see how he's not chasing me? So I'm going to hit Shift F1 to get out, and then I'm going to come over here to the behavior tree, and we're in sequence. So enemy is set, but can see enemy. It seems to be kicking us out. Out of curiosity, let's get rid of that service. Okay, I broke something else somewhere else. Maybe when I are these? Let's get rid of the on fail here. Yeah, apparently that movement is failing, and I have a feeling it's because I'm changing where he's supposed to be moving to. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but let's go ahead and add that service back. Take a look. It's been a little while since I've done AI. Okay, he's on my shit, and it keeps saying printed. Printed, 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 printed. Okay. And now he sees me. Okay, so see if it keeps saying printed on the activation. Let's see if it keeps activating over and over again. No. It doesn't. Okay. So, there we go. Successful test, finally. Alright, so what we're going to do is, basically, we need to say get value as... Did I do actor here? Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and promote that to a variable, and we will say enemy key, make sure it goes public, check is valid, is valid here, oops, wrong, nope, that's right. Okay, and what we can do is, if it's not valid, we can clear the blackboard value. Okay, if it is valid, then what we're going to do is we're going to do a line trace I'm not sure if I want to do by channel or by objects. I think I want to do by channel. That way you can hide in foliage. You can hide behind things that don't collide, like a waterfall or something that you could run through. So, actors to ignore, we will just make array. And there'll be nothing in there. We ignore self, and let's actually stick this guy in there so it ignores his own pawn, and the start will be get actor location. That'll be the start, and then get actor location. I just typed, I know I could have duped this one, but I typed it again just in case it was gonna give me something weird. And we'll go start to end. Okay, and let's go ahead and throw in the debug on this guy. So if it's valid, what we'll do is we'll break this. Okay, so first off, if we hit nothing, let's do this, because I kind of have a feeling that a few roads are going to end up going here. Let's add a custom event, and we'll say clear enemy. And we'll just plug that in. This is just for organization purposes. Instead of having to tie everything to this thing, I can just keep calling that. So I can say clear enemy here. Okay. Then I can dupe this around and use it wherever I want. So if that ever becomes false, we'll clear the enemy. And what we'll do is we'll say hit actor. What I'm thinking is now is a good time, unless I want these to be spread out all over the place, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just have a whole big spaghetti code of this. This is a good time to use this. Okay. So what we'll do is, if it's valid, we'll just store a local copy of that. Okay, it's not something that we need to, this is a variable, this is not a key. Okay, so now what we can do is, because we should only come into this service when this is true, which means enemy is set. So when enemy is not set, we're going to pop out of here. So what should happen is, whenever we clear the variable, clear the enemy here, clear the blackboard value, we should pretty much immediately pop out of this of this sequence. So what we can do now is, we don't really need to do that anymore. We can go here, because we've already got a handle on it, right? So we can clear that up just a little bit. So the other thing we could do is we could say promote that to a variable, double click the line to make a reroute node, by the way, and we'll call that actually parasite character. Okay, so what we can do now is we can say equal equal, if it equals parasite character, which would be ourself, and it should ignore ourself, so we don't need to do that. We need to equal, equal the enemy local copy. Okay, I'm going to do another branch. If it equals that, we don't do anything. But if it doesn't, it means we can't see him. Okay, so we're running a trace between the parasite and the player. If it hits the player, we can still see him, which means our service is just going to be true. We just keep the enemy key. But if what we hit is not the player, that means we can't see him anymore. So we need to clear the enemy. Okay, so this should make it, oh, I'm missing something here. Get actor location from enemy local. There we go. Okay, this should make it so as soon as I go around the corner, he should lose me. Shit. Okay, so he sees me. Let's come around here. I think if I hit F1, yeah. Okay. Is he still chasing me? I think he's still chasing me. He shouldn't see me right now, but I think he's still going for me. Yeah, he's still going for me. So I got something wrong. Oh, well, I'm an idiot. I forgot. Sorry guys, I forgot. I never told this to what to clear. So like, how does it know to clear the enemy? By the way, it is F1 for wireframe. See, he instantaneously lost me. And now let's get him back to aggro on us. F3 to go back to lit. Is he not? I have a feeling... Let me... hang on. He might be losing us even though he can see us. Yeah. He's losing us anyway. So let's actually... let's take a look here. Ignore self. Line trace by visibility. Let's make sure there is a chance that the first person character, his capsule component, is ignoring visibility. He's not ignoring camera though. So let's trace by camera. Okay, now he's not losing me. So he was losing me because I was ignoring the visibility trace channel. And that's for other things that were happening in the game. So he's lost me now because I'm behind something. And he won't see me until he turns around. So I'll just wait for him to make up his mind to turn this way, which is kind of fun. This is actually how the game would play. You can sneak up on him. But I don't want it to be so that you can get too close to him, so we're going to give him another trigger check as well. He really, really does not want to come back this way. It's totally random, so I don't have any control over him. You little friggin' dickwad. I know I can just run right in front of him, but I think it's actually kind of hilarious that I'm behind him and he's not looking back. It's the first rule of FPS games. What's behind me? What's in front of? What's behind me? You gotta keep checking. And he doesn't follow those rules. He's his own man. I don't even know if it's a dude. Yeah, it is a man, by the way. I was actually planning on making a queen boss. Not planning on it, I was thinking about how cool it would be if I did do it. I'm not gonna do it, though. Holy shit. I mean, it's like he's purposely... You know what? I think he's mad at me. Alright, you know what? Just see me. Little dick face. So you can see he's now tracing. You can see the little squares, and this is where he's hitting me. And they got little green arrows because it was a successful hit. But as soon as I pop around this corner, he lost me. Okay? See, it's now... He tried to trace to me, but it didn't hit me. Now he sees me, sees me. Okay, but what's happening is he's kind of losing me really, really fast, right? Like as soon as I go around the corner, he's like, "There, where'd he go?" You know? He immediately doesn't know where I'm at, and I don't like that. So it's a very simple act of just saying, hey, I kind of want him to still remember where I was for like 5 seconds. So now I gotta be out of his sight for 5 seconds. So as you can see, he's still coming after me, but now he finally figured it. So let's come over here and piss him off. See, he traced, and he's still 3, 2, he's still going for me because he's not tracing again, he's not checking again for 5 seconds. Now he checked, and now he actually doesn't know I'm there. So you could increase the length of that to like say 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So he'll know where you're at. He's constantly coming after you until however long you want to set that. And you can give it a random interval too. So it's going to be hard for me to lose him right now. And now he just lost me. You can see the green line came through, see? And he's going away. And you can give him like make a sound or something can be played. Okay, and this is going to be much harder once I speed him up. So he sees me, and as soon as I see the green line, I know he's lost me. See, he lost me, and now he's cruising around. So it works perfect. I mean, honestly, it actually works perfect. So let's go through it again really quick, because hopefully I didn't confuse the shit out of everybody. So what we do is we check if enemy is set, right? If it is set, we abort all of this. And the reason is because we told it to abort all of this, right? We abort everything, and then we start running this check, okay, this sequence here, or whatever you call it, service. And the service is essentially running a line trace to the player. So when we receive the activation on this, we do a few checks here. Check if we get enemy local. Now, we will receive activation fired, I believe, this is just a belief, only when we enter into the sequence. So if we're outside of it and we're running something else, either one of these or even one of these, that when it finally comes into here, that we get receive activation. If it pops out of here and then goes to other stuff and then comes back, I believe we get receive activation again and again, as long as it comes out and then back in. That's my belief, because it was working, so obviously this is being set. Well, actually that's not true, because if it was set one time, then it would be set as us. But we are... I'm wondering if I should set enemy local. Actually, I can test that theory really quick by clearing that, by just setting it to nothing. Let's see if he can ever pick me back up again. Okay, so he sees me, he's on my shit. Let him trace at me one time. See if I can get around this corner within 5 seconds. Okay, so he should have lost me. And let's see, can he see me again? If not, I know that that logic's broken. Yeah. But let's see, can he still trace to me? He just missed me. Okay, see, he hit right there on the wall. He couldn't see me. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, so I believe I am correct that if it leaves the sequence and then comes back in, we do get a refire on the receive activation. So boom, he just lost me. So again, if you want to make the game easier, you can tell this to be like 30 seconds with a random deviation of 10, or maybe 20 with a random deviation of 10, and that way I'm assuming that that's anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds for him to test to see if he can see you, right? And that's just a quick generic way of giving him a randomized ability to remember where you're at. I don't exactly like it. I kind of want it to be so that if he stops, actually what I want to have happen is if he stops, if he misses and he can't see you, he wants to go check where the last point was that he could see you, which means we need to kind of constantly store wherever you're at, which is actually quite simple. Alright, so let's just go through it really quick. So again, this is going to take us in and out of the sequence based on whether or not this is set. When we clear it, we're going to instantaneously pop out of here, right? And then we'll go here, which will automatically fail. Remember, it just instantaneously fails. It's just a placeholder right now for when we do come in here and add some behavior for when he hears stuff. And then we'll jump straight to here, and it's going to stay in here permanently unless this gets set again. Because every time that this goes through, it's actually going to run through and just check these. It won't come out of here unless one of these hits true, okay? So we have this set, and then we check our trace. So when we receive the activation, I should have just put a print here to see if my theory was true, but I'm tired of checking it. It is working, so I'm okay. So we just get the value, okay, as actor. We check if it's valid. Then we just store it as a local variable so that we can access it easier without having to drag wires everywhere. And we also do a check on ourselves, which we didn't actually end up using anywhere, but it's kind of a good idea sometimes to do that anyway. I could delete it if I want to, and even delete the variable. It doesn't make a difference right now. So on tick, which is going to happen every either 10 to 30 seconds now that I've set it, we're going to check if the enemy local is valid. If at any point it's not, we're going to clear that blackboard value, and then we clear it so that this becomes false, and basically will abort itself, because that is how these decorator things work. If it becomes true here, if it's set, we can also say it's not set, but we're going to say if it's set, we can abort everything else, but if it ever becomes not set, it will pretty much automatically abort itself. As far as I believe anyway, and it does in fact work, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that assumption. So when we come back here, so again, clear the enemy, and that should abort this process, and then we do a line trace between the parasite, which is controlled pawn. I could have used parasite character instead here if I really wanted to right there, but I mean, we're already got controlled pawn coming out of here. No point in not using it, unless we were using it everywhere and we had a million line drags. We would do it here, because remember, I just grabbed it from here. So we do the trace between that. Start is our own pawn, the end is the enemy, okay, enemy's location, so we get the actor location. We make sure that it does ignore the pawn, because I believe that ignoring self is, because remember, all of this stuff, the blackboard and the behavior tree, they were all activated on the player controller, which is this empty, ghosty type of class that is just data for the most part, right? It has a location and things like that, but it doesn't have any physical presence. So ignoring self, it would never hit that thing anyway. It would never hit the controller anyway. So we actually need to tell it to ignore the pawn. So we drag it out, and it's looking for an array, so we just do a cheap make array. We don't need this anymore. None here. We're doing the camera channel because you remember my first person character was ignoring the visibility channel. So we go with the camera channel because it shouldn't interfere with anything else that's going on in the game. And we say, hey, did we hit anything? Because that's what happens here. True if there was a hit, false otherwise, right? So if it does become false, something really, really weird and wrong happened. This right here should, under no circumstances, ever fire. But we're putting it here just in case it does. Something weird does happen. Say, for instance, where, I don't know. I don't know what could possibly happen. In between it actually firing the trace and us, or in between it checking the validity and actually firing the trace, we die and become invalid. It would probably shoot off into nowhere, or I don't know what would happen, to be honest with you. That's when the universe implodes. So this should never fire. We should be alright. We check. We break the hit result, okay? Is what we hit, is it really the enemy? If it is, hey, we're good. You know, I can still see you. Don't change anything, because we're already chasing, right? We're already chasing the enemy. We're using this to tell him to stop chasing. So that's the only case that we care about. And that's it. So we clear the variable here, like so, and then we clear the enemy key. And it's important that we clear the key and not set the key, not set the value as nothing. Because that doesn't, I don't think that actually clears the key. So we use clear key, and that way this actually right here becomes, it actually will become not set, and that will boot us out. Alright, and then for chase enemy, we just keep moving to it. Okay, we're doing it on tick, but just remember that if he's already moving to it, we want him to follow us permanently. So every time you give an AI a command to move somewhere, it actually instantaneously negates its last move command. So it's not like he's gonna try to move to us a million times. He's actually just constantly going, yeah, okay, I get it. You know, I'm already doing it. But if we didn't do it on tick, he would move to where you were, and if you moved away from that, he wouldn't follow you. He wouldn't turn to follow you. So I really don't need any of that anymore, so we can make this a little bit simpler. So again, we check if it's valid. If it's not valid, we should actually stop the movement and clear the value. And then fail out of here, because a fail takes us out of the sequence. A success keeps us in here and tries to keep cycling through these things. Remember, success keeps you in here, fail gets you out of here. Okay, and that should be it. Hopefully we're good, because we check on success if it's fail. When I did this, I have a feeling that every time I move and I get a new move to, that the last command does come out with a fail. So that's why I'm taking this out of the equation. So in fact, what we could probably do is do this, but I'm going to leave it empty because he's working right now. I'm not going to play with it. And again, remember, stop movement has to be to the controller. The pawn is what moves to, right? And then the target is the get the value as the actor, and this only runs if it's valid. And then that's it. That's it. Now he chases us, and he'll forget about us after about 30 seconds. What we could do too is on chase enemy. What we can do is, let's receive execute. Let's cast to parasite character, and let's promote that to a variable, and we'll call that parasite character. So when we go to move to the player, what we can do get character movement, set walk speed, and we can go up to 500. Then move to. So he'll be trucking around real slow until he sees us, and then he's going to start hauling ass after us. And that's scarier. So given that that's happening, I actually want to not be in his view until he... oh shit, he's actually coming this way too. So I'll come over here, and now he sees me, and now he's trucking. Okay, he is trucking. He's going much faster, and I'm probably not going to be able to lose him, to be honest, until I'm never going to see that trace. I don't want to fall off the end. I am faster than him. So there he goes. I lost him. Now he is set to being going fast. He's going fast still. He's still hauling ass. But he's wandering, but he's trucking. So what I need to do is basically on the can see enemy here, when I do clear the enemy, I can do the same thing. So we have the parasite character. The only thing I didn't do here is cast to parasite character, so I can get a handle on his variables. Okay, and then we'll set it from there. Right, I hadn't used it yet. So now I do the same thing. Let's get parasite character, get character move. I think I need to compile. Get movement component and set max, or set what? Not wait. Get character movement. Sorry, get character, not movement component. Get character movement. What's going on here? Controlled pawn, cast a parasite character, get character movement. Okay, I am actually going to delete this and this and this, and I'm going to reforce that. Okay, let's compile that, and let's see now if I can get character movement off of that. And now it works. Kind of annoying that that happens. Okay, and then set walk, set max walk speed, and whatever we want him to be walking around speed at. So when he loses us, he'll actually go back to being slow now. So you can see slow. I know my animation is going too fast. We're actually going to put code to determine the play rate of the animation. Let's get him to see us. Hey, fucker. I really want him to see me from kind of a large distance so that I can get away easier. I should probably start making it so he can hear you. Alright, he'll see me as soon as he comes around this way, I think. There he goes. Alright, and you can see he's trucking now. Oh, shit. He's going fast. And when he loses me, he should slow right back down. There he goes. And you can see now his animation's moving way too fast for his speed. So he slowed right back down. So all that behavior, you know, it's really quite easy to layer in. So I'm actually going to end the video here really soon. And I did update his animation here, and I am setting the animation scale here to be 8. But we will be able to adjust that based on code as well. So yeah, I think this is a good spot to leave it. Even though I know, yes, his legs are just going crazy here, and he's barely moving, so it's not going to work out. But we'll fix that in another video. We'll take a look at the math. We're going to have to figure out some percentages based on total speed and what his actual speed is, and then do a little bit of mathematics there. But for now, he's pretty good, and he chases us. He can lose us, and we can hide from him if we want to. And yeah, it's pretty fun. So this is HipBoss signing off. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.